Raye Queen. Peace and blessings, light and love. It is your girl Raye Queen, the medicine woman. And laughter should be the only thing that hurts. And baby, today I'm going to ask you to open yourself up to being receptive to information that might be counterintelligent to what you've been taught. It might awaken the fact that we have been highly miseducated when it comes to the health and the well-being of our physical beings. And we are going to talk about fibroids. And we're going to talk about how our thoughts affect our bodies. You know, on a very elementary level, we've known this. We know that when you see that fine brother from across the room, you might get butterflies in your stomach. That's a physical manifestation. We know that if you get nervous, you might vomit. That's a physical manifestation. You know, we know that if we get stressed out because your kids are driving you crazy, that you might get a headache. That's a physical manifestation. And it speaks to how our organs are affected by our thoughts, by our emotions, and by our mental states. And so, that being said, it's exciting to see that so many people are beginning to give credence to this. That we were accepting this in our lives, and we're accepting this in making sure that we are the healthiest people that we can be. So, with understanding that our emotional bodies and our mental bodies play a role in our physical bodies, I wanted to break down to you how those elements are contributing to your fibroids. First of all, you need to know that each of our organs is responsible for a chemical reality. So when you think of good thought, certain chemicals are released. When you think of bad thought, certain chemicals are released. When you think of loving thoughts, pure thoughts, any thought or emotion that you have has a chemical reality attached to it. And our organs house different aspects of our lives. So our uterus, for example, is responsible for the nurturing aspect of our lives. So, the uterus is where life starts. Life begins in the uterus. That is where we create life, and that we have to nurture that life so that it's well taken care of. So that's in relation to, giving birth to a child, or having a child in your womb that you're nurturing. But even beyond that, let's transcend just speaking about children and just talk about the nurturing aspect. Anytime women employ the nurturing aspect of themselves, you are affecting your uterus. I don't care what it is you're nurturing. You might be nurturing a good meal, making sure that you're taking care to cook it right and season it right and the temperature's just right. That's nurturing. It doesn't have to be a child. Let's say you're nurturing your job, making sure you dot all your I's and you cross all your T's and you're there on time and you're at this meeting and your reports are accurate. That's nurturing for women. That's a nurturing aspect. Let's say you're in a relationship and you're doing everything to make sure your relationship is as loving and compassionate as it can be. That's nurturing. And so when we put ourselves in situations where our nurturing is stunted or is stopped, it's halted for whatever reason, it causes problems. If you go against what your uterus needs, and that's to be nurturing, it creates thoughts in our bodies, in our emotions. It creates thoughts that create a chemical reaction in the bloodstream that lends itself to the growth of these uterine fibroids. I have never worked with a client who was suffering from uterine fibroids, who was going against their natural nurturing nature in one aspect or another. And what that means is perhaps they're working a job that they hate. And so they're taking 8, 10, 9, 10 hours a day to nurture this job that they hate, that they don't love, that they don't want to nurture. That creates a conflict between the emotional body and the physical body. And it manifests itself in the form of fibroids, because now your uterus is now you're creating these chemicals in your body that you're not able to detox, because you're stopping the detox process with those counter thoughts, those counter nurturing thoughts. If you're in a relationship and you are unhappy, or you know that you shouldn't be in that relationship, but you're doing everything you can in your power to make it work, or you found a reason, and women are bad at that. They will find a reason to make it work, even though it's at the expense of your health. Those thoughts and those emotions that you're having are producing these chemicals in your body that is destroying your reproductive organs. Chemical excretions are a reality in our body, and these chemicals that we're excreting because of our thoughts are causing so much damage to our health. If you're spending a lot of your time nurturing something you know you shouldn't be nurturing, you know it's not good for you, you know it's not for the betterment of yourself, your spirit, your soul, if you know that, and you deal with these thoughts every day, 8 hours a day while you're at work, or all night long when you're looking at this brother lying next to you that you know should not be lying next to you, you're having these thoughts. I mean, whether they're silent thoughts or not, you're having these thoughts, and they're creating these emotions that's producing these chemicals that's contributing to your fibroids. Now you have this excess estrogen built up, because that's what it is, excess estrogen. And you're not breaking down the estrogen in your body because the chemicals won't allow you to do so. Chemicals won't allow you to do so because you're not using the estrogen in the nurturing capacity that your uterine wants you to. I know it sounds crazy. I know it's really far-fetched for some of you. But if you just take a few minutes and consider for me, if you are one of these people, are you in a situation where you're nurturing something that you know at the deepest level of your core, you know you shouldn't be nurturing? If that's you, I'm willing to bet that's the cause of your fibroids. And I'm willing to bet if you begin to change your thinking and your emotional thoughts, your emotional body and your mental body will then begin to produce the chemicals that will help you to process the estrogen, and your fibroids will disappear. I mean, what do you have to lose? If you don't believe me, just give it a try. You ain't got nothing to lose. See if it works. Now listen, I'm not saying go quit your job today and divorce your husband. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to be in charge of your emotional state, your emotional responses. You have to be in charge of your thoughts. You have to own and become accountable for what you decide to do. That's what you have to do. And if it's not for the betterment of you, then you need to make some different choices. I know this is a lot. So if you have any questions, or I didn't explain something well enough, I would love to speak with you. You can visit my website at rayequeen.com. That's RAYEQUEEN.com. And I would love to chit chat with you, build it up so we can break it down. And let's move forward, sisters. We have to take our health back into our own hands and kick these fibroids in the butt. As always, I'm wishing you light, love, peace, and happiness, and all the very best in health. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Peace.